You were saying about energy levels, and is that what sometimes dictates how a team can be selected?
Yeah. Well, you have in modern football, there is probably in the past you didn't rely on the physical element as much. You could be a little bit more. You could take your own time. It's what you do on the ball. Then you've got the ball. What do you do on the ball? Now, the transition of the game, like you lose the ball, how quickly you can get the ball back is so important that physically you need to show a level. You look at the game last night, Milan against Barcelona. Cesc Fabregas never played a second, and you think if Fabregas in a game like that is a must. But then you're looking at they playing the cup final. They're playing a very important game at the weekend. You have to share the efforts. You can't just expect a player to play 10 games in 14 days or in a month and be at the same level physically. It's impossible. You're looking at David Silva now. He's been the best player by a mile, and now he's played over 3,000 minutes. He's starting to find it difficult because he's never played more than 3,000 minutes in Spain. So all of a sudden you get into areas that of unknown. You're risking injuries and you're losing form, and that's modern football, unfortunately. And you have to cope with that physicality.
So these fitness levels.
What do you think your best side is at the moment?
At the moment,
yeah,
I think we've got players in a very, very good moment of form. We've been unfortunate with Hugo and Momo being injured because they are players that, without having a good moment of form, you need them on the pitch. Probably for a period of time, especially now, because there are moments. Let's give you an example. When we scored against West Brom, forget about the physical element, technical and tactical is up here. Yeah. Being able to keep the ball, being able to open the spaces and run the clock down. And Hugo and Momo, two of the most experienced players. But then James McCarthy is in a very good moment of form. James McCarthy, Sean Maloney has been working really, really hard to be able to get there. Now he's fresh and he's giving us something different. And the players know how we play. Yeah. Like if you saw it at Anfield, we play two different systems. Something that gives a real advantage. That doesn't come overnight. We've been working with that for months. So to answer your question, it's like you'll have players that their level is always needed on the pitch. Yeah. Other players that they need to be on top of their form to be on the pitch. But we got enough of that combination of the core players plus the players that they need to win you games so have been in good moments of form. Let's say Sean Maloney, Hugo, Franco, Jordi, Albert Crusat that is starting to get up to grips. Because Albert Crusat is a phenomenal footballer, and it's been hard for him to adapt to the British physicality, if you want. But the way he coped with Jose Enrique on Saturday, defensively, it was admirable. So I would say that we got a group of 19 players now ready for the next 8 games.
Yeah, because I was looking at Maloney. He seems to have made a big difference to the side. You know, why have you not played him earlier?
Because first, the SPL is a good league. But it's not a league that is up to the demands of the Premier League. And Shawnee needed. Remember that he's not just playing another league. He's playing for a team like Celtic that you don't have to defend. With all due respect, you need to be very good on the ball. And then coming to Wigan, where we need to be all hard workers and fighters. And it took him probably 3-4 months to get that physical aspect. Yeah. Once he got down, we worked tactically in a different position because Shawnee always played behind the striker with a lot of freedom, or played in the wide areas in a 4-4-2, working up and down. Here, we had to play him a little bit in between lines as a false striker, and that took a little bit of time. You need to allow the player to have a good moment of form and then put him on the pitch. It's very unfair just to throw him in and say, look, you need to perform. And Shawnee had his natural progression. He was getting desperate, he was getting really anxious, and that was the moment that he came on against Norwich, and it really showed that he was ready, and it was in a very good moment.
So, as a manager then, how do you assess that?
Day by day in training. No, you see it, Dan. It's very easy to see when you see fresh players, you see players with good chemistry with others. You develop partnerships. Football is about partnerships. It's not just as an individual you can be in a good moment, but if you haven't got understanding with the people around you, you'll never have effect on the pitch. You see that straight away in training. You see the players that they're starting to get real good moments of confidence and how they find in themselves, and others that for a reason it's been a long few weeks and they need a little bit of a rest, and you need to just try to give them a breather. And you see that by training every day.
Well, Bosa, Jaw, Maloney and MacArthur, I'd say they're the three aspects of the team which have changed the squad. I mean, because Maloney's spatial awareness is second to none.
Yes.
MacArthur's work rate is fantastic. He loses the ball and fights for it. And Bosa Jaw's the best signing we've had in last year.
Yes.
He's big, he goes for the ball, he's up for it. You know, the first game at Tottenham, we'll forget about that defensive error, of course, but
yes.
I think Bosa, Jaw, Maloney and MacArthur, the three aspects that are going to keep us up this season, I think.
Yeah, well, remember that while that's happening, you see a back three, because Minor, Antolin and Gary Cole's understanding has been getting better and better and better and stronger. Then Emerson Boyce, that he had a little bit of a stop-start season with his injuries, all of a sudden he's been able to have a very consistent run in the side. All of a sudden you got very strong aspects of our team. Then I will tell you, Ronnie Stam is in a very good moment now. He's training really well.
Yeah, well, we watched at the reserves, didn't we?
Against Bolton, yeah.
And he was really good.
Yes. So that's what when you are in the team and you see someone that is in a good moment, that makes you perform.
Yeah.
And the other player gives you a great level whenever he has to come on. So that's what we got in the at the squad now. We haven't got 11 players, believe me. We got 19 players now.
Yeah.
And whenever they are required, they are ready. And that's we go to Anfield and we go 1-1 when you know that the home side is in the ascendancy and they're gonna get a bit of momentum. If you haven't got subs that they can come on and impose themselves, like we did with Ben Watson on Saturday, you're not going to win football games.
No,
and that's why it's so important to have a sub that is ready. It comes in with clear concepts and it can affect the game. And that's what we've got now. And sometimes you need that competition, and it's very unfair sometimes just to highlight the players that they are playing.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because sometimes the ones that they are not playing are making the ones that they are on the pitch to perform well. Because in this situation it can be very, very tough mentally to be able to perform week in, week out. Because the players, believe me, we got the best group of players we had for a long, long time in terms of the right. They do the things for the right reasons. They love the football club, and the football club is first, and then themselves. And that's something that makes a good dressing room or a bad dressing room. And we've got a very, very good dressing room, very responsible. If you see them after the games, the boys are really emotional about what's going on the pitch.
Roberto, can you give us some insight into the future of Callum? Or is he going to fit into the team? Is he going to swap for another player, or is he going to be integrated?
No, Callum is someone that we got real hopes. When he went to the World Cup on the 20s, it was a good experience from the mental side. Then he came back and he went backwards a little bit. And you're going to get that with youngsters. The big problem we got in the British game is that reserves league is not good enough once you played it 5 months. We haven't got anything else. You play the reserves league for 5 months and you haven't got anything else until the first team. And Callum had that. He couldn't do any more. Callum needs us to give him 10 games. Can we afford to do that?
No, that's the thing.
So then his period at Blackpool helped him. I think it took him into a different level. He came back, he played against Swindon really well. Unfortunately, it was such a bad performance that we couldn't get a longer run, because a good run in the Cup would help players like Callum. Callum trained really well the week leading up to West Brom, and that's why he came on the pitch. Because the good thing about Callum is that he's a magician. In front of goal, he'll make you a decision that you don't expect and not score a goal, and that's natural talent. And that's why he'll be a very important player for us. But we need to be patient with him. If we will be top 10 now, I will tell you the way to make him a player is giving him 8 games, play the final 8 games, and learn with it, experiment with it. We can do that. So we need to be patient, and when it works well and he deserves it.
I understand it. So next year is probably the ideal time to do it.
It is. Full pre-season, come back, because the last 10 months they've been very positive for his career. He's played in a World Cup under 20s, which is the second biggest tournament in the world. He's gone to the Championship and he's been successful. He's come back to the club, and if you see him training, he got rid of that respect to the players that they've been playing 100 games in the Premier League, which is something that you need to overcome as a youngster. So he's developed a lot. But I still think he's got a big role now, but it's going to be a very specific moment for him when to appear and when not.
Roberto, what's your plans for the rest of this season and with an eye on next season, mate? The reason I'm asking a question is this season, if just from a layman's point of view,
Yeah.
I'd be looking at my players who are leaving and the players who I'm likely to retain for next year.
Yes.
Also, I'm following on from that, the question that then says, okay, if we stay up, what's your plan?
Once
And if we
we
go
stay
down,
up,
what's your plans?
When we say it.
Yes. No, I think your concerns are normal, but you shouldn't have any concerns of trying to plan football. Whatever happens, you have to adapt to it.
Yeah.
I would tell you that the plans are we financially stable for the next 5-10 years?
Yeah.
The answer is yes. We are the healthiest that we ever been, and the chairman is always there to support us. But slowly we get in a position that we won't need the chairman,
Yeah.
and that's very important. After that, we need to get enough points in the next 8 games.
So that's your total focus, is it?
It is, because we bought the training ground now, which is
Yeah.
something that slowly we're going to develop into a place where we can develop our youngsters, where the first team can be really happy with their work. If you look, we send 5 players on loan, which has never happened before. So we're producing more and more players.
Yeah.
The group between 18 and 22 is working really, really well. If you saw the reserves yesterday against Sunderland, the boys are starting to develop really, really well, and that's massively important for Wigan Athletic to be able to have 3 new players every season. And then the next thing is being successful. Being successful is staying in the Premier League, nothing else.
Yeah.
Everything else, not interested at the moment.
The key finance things is the percentage of salary versus income has dropped as well, hasn't it? Because it was the high 90%. It's not your silly Man City 170%, is it? It's dropped. And I assume then the trend, Jonathan, it's coming down as well and being managed.
Yeah, it's
The
been,
stadium itself actually makes a profit as a going company on its own, doesn't it?
well, the stadium is its own company, so I'm not
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
comment on that, but it looks after itself. But our turnover has been, ratio has been 90% for the last 5 years. Last year it was 80%. It's looking like it's going to be lower this year, so that's positive.
We're getting into the 70s.
Yes.
The model is around, you can have a good model like Arsenal a few years ago in the 40%, and the United, which is anything between what the Glazers tell you and what they don't tell you, to
But that's great when you've got,
mid-60s, isn't it?
yeah,
So-
when you've got a turnover of 340 million, you can do that. But on a turnover of 50 million like we've got, to get to 70% is the aim, and that's what we're achieving.
And we're still on plan for 2013 and everything's
2013.
yeah, the European Platini's big image.
Yeah, that only affects you if you're in Europe, so
Well, I think don't all
Hopefully.
point, isn't it?
absolutely, yeah.
But I think we still have to comply to things, don't we, as a football club for 2013 to be part of Europe. If
To
you
be
want.
part of Europe,
Yeah,
yes, yeah. And that basically is break even. If you break even, you're allowed to play in Europe. There will be a period where you can make losses, and that will taper down eventually. So I think by 2016 you have to break even. But we're there now anyway, so